Hello aspirants, welcome to the Metis IAS NCERT Foundation course for the UPSC Civil Services examination. NCERT builds your basics, but remember one thing very clearly, UPSC does not test memory. UPSC tests application under exam pressure. That is why, along with these NCERT classes, Metis IAS focuses on testing NCERT concepts in UPSC pattern questions. Now, with this mindset, let us understand today's chapter in a simple and exam oriented manner. Today, we are studying chapter 7 Urban Administration. Cities in India are large, crowded, and complex. They need organized systems for roads, electricity, water supply, drainage, garbage collection, traffic management, public health, and urban planning. But think once, who manages all this? Who is responsible when something goes wrong? This is the central question of this chapter. Now, instead of starting with definitions, NCERT does something smart. It starts with a small story. Let's go there. NCERT begins with a very simple situation. A group of children were playing cricket in a street. One shot accidentally broke a street light. Immediately, questions arose. Who will pay for this? Who owns the street light? Who maintains it? This everyday doubt opens the door to understanding urban governance. Because in cities, even one street light is not a personal responsibility, it is a public service. Now, the children's questions are actually very powerful because if we can answer who owns a street light, we can understand who runs an entire city. So, what is the institution responsible for this? Think once. To answer these questions, an elder in the story explains something more important. That is the municipal corporation. The municipal corporation is the urban local government responsible for managing city services. That is called municipal corporation. It looks after street lighting, garbage collection, water supply, cleanliness, public health, schools and hospitals, parks, and public spaces. This is the core institution of urban administration. So now we know who is responsible. But next question is, how does a big city manage lakhs of people? One office cannot handle everything. So what do cities do? Who takes urban decisions? Cities are too large to be governed as one unit. So let us understand very clearly. So they are divided into wards. Each ward elects a ward councillor. Ward councillors represent people, raise local problems, participate in committees, and influence the city budget. Wards make governance manageable, small units with a local representation. Committees then decide on matters like water supply, garbage management, street lighting, markets, and a drainage system. This is where politics meet administration. Now, you may be thinking councillors represent people, but who actually runs the office daily? who executes the work on the ground. That's where the administrative machinery comes in. So look carefully. Urban administration works on two pillars. First, elected representatives. Second, appointed officials. It comes to when it comes to elected representatives, mayor, councillor, and committees. Then, what about appointed officials? Those are the municipal commissioner and administrative staff. So, their roles are clearly different. When it comes to elected representatives, decide and approve the policies. The commissioner implements and executes the decisions. So, remember this clearly. Policy voice comes from the elected, execution power comes from the appointed. Focus clearly, please. UPSC loves this distinction. Now, one more basic reality. Decisions and officers alone are not enough. Even the best plan fails if there is no money. So, where does a city get its funds from? Look at very carefully. Running a city requires money. Municipal corporation raise funds through various methods like property tax, water tax, education and services tax, shop and hotel taxes, entertainment taxes such as movie tickets and grants from state and central governments. Taxes are different from grants from state and central governments. So listen carefully. However, NCERT highlights an important problem. Property tax forms only a limited share of city revenue. This creates financial stress for many urban local bodies. So, urban governance is not only administrative, it is also financially challenging. So, urban governance is not only administrative, it is also financially challenging, both administrative and financially challenging. So, money is a challenge, but even with money, the work is too complex to be handled by one team. So, that is why cities created specialized departments. Cities created specialized departments. Let's see how that works. Cities are complex systems. One single office cannot manage everything in the city, particular city. So work is divided into departments like water, sanitation, garbage, roads, gardens, accounts, public health, and education. Like these are several departments like water department, sanitation department, roads department, R&B, like gardens, park, accounts, public health department, and education department. This division of work helps manage complexity. This division of work helps manage complexity. Specialization makes administration efficient. Please note this point. Specialization makes administration more efficient. Now, here comes the most important democratic part. If services fail, do citizens just silently suffer? NCERT shows that citizens can actually push the system to work. Now, here comes the most important democratic part. If services fail, do citizens just silently suffer? No. NCERT shows that citizens can actually push the system to work. For example, garbage was not being collected. Women organized a protest. The ward councillor intervened. The commissioner was confronted. Service delivery improved. This is the way of things deliver sometimes without proper doing of their work. This is democracy at the grassroots. Citizens demanding what they already pay for. So the city system works through citizens, councillors, and officials. But modern cities also use another method, outsourcing. What is what is the particular method is called outsourcing. NCERT introduces this carefully. So the city system works through citizens, councillors, and officials. But modern cities also use another method that is called outsourcing. NCERT introduces this very carefully. Many city services are now subcontracted to private agencies. This may reduce costs for the corporation, but it also creates several problems like low wages, temporary employment, lack of safety equipment, and informal working conditions. Sometimes it will be helpful, and sometimes it will be creating more problems like low wages, temporary employment, lack of safety equipment, and informal working conditions undergone by subcontracted method to private agencies. Urban administration today intersects with labor rights. With labor rights. Now, if sanitation and garbage system fail, the problem is not small. It can become a public health crisis. NCRT proves this with a real incident from India. Please look into it very carefully. In 1994, Surat faced a plague outbreak. The cause was poor sanitation and uncollected garbage. What is the cause behind Surat Plague outbreak? That was poor sanitation and uncollected garbage. The effect was panic and mass migration from the city. The response was an administrative shock and a massive cleanup. After this crisis, Surat implemented major reforms and became known for stronger urban cleanliness systems. This teaches us two powerful lessons. One, neglect can kill. Two, good governance saves lives. So, this chapter is not just a story of cities, it is a governance lesson. Now, let us connect this directly to UPSC. From this chapter, UPSC can ask questions related to municipal corporations, urban local bodies, the 74th Constitutional Amendment, municipal finance, and public health in prelims. These are coming exactly under prelims. Questions are asked in mains GS2. It links to urban governance, decentralization, service delivery, accountability, and state local relations. In GS1, it connects to urbanization. In essay and ethics, it relates to people centric governance and citizen participation. People centric governance and citizen participation. And to make this exam ready, let me show how UPSC useful and usually asks questions around urban governance. UPSC has repeatedly asked what is the 74th constitutional amendment? What is the 74th constitutional amendment? And how did it strengthen urban local bodies? NCERT provides the base logic to answer such questions clearly. Now shift your mindset from an aspirant to an administrator, because the same chapter can be tested in the interview. Possible interview questions include: why are cities harder to govern than villages? Why do municipalities face financial stress? Why is citizens' participation critical in cities? Is privatization good for urban areas? Can one uniform city governance model work across India? These questions test governance maturity, not textbook memory. So, if you remember only two lines from this chapter, remember these Metis concept stamps: elected, decide, appointed, implement. Elected, decide, appointed, implement. Urban governance equals complexity plus coordination plus finance. 3 F's equals complexity plus coordination plus finance. Alright. Now let's consolidate everything quickly. Cities need organized administration. Municipal corporations manage services. Cities are divided into wards. Councillors are elected. Councillors are elected. Commissioners are appointed. Cities depend on multiple taxes and grants. Multiple taxes and grants. Citizen action improves service delivery. Urban health depends on sanitation. Governance failures can become public health crisis. What we exactly watched in Surat crisis, Surat Plague outbreak. Good. With this clarity, you are not just reading NCERT, you are building governance understanding. Before we close, remember one thing: understanding NCERT is the first layer, testing NCERT is the layer that clears prelims. In the next class, we will move to chapter 8, rural livelihoods. Until then, revise slowly and think clearly. Metis IAS, where concepts become clarity.